one thing I have realized while getting ready for this video, and that is I probably have the least Dune wardrobe out there. Hello, my name is Anastasia and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are gonna be talking about Dune, or to be more exact, about method dressing around the time of the Dune Part 2 premiere. We will talk about Zendaya, we will talk about Timothee Chalamet, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh and a couple of others. Obviously spoilers alert, because I would like to draw the parallels between what they are wearing and the costume presented within the movie where possible. So if you haven't watched the Dune yet and you are still afraid of spoilers, come back and watch it later after the movie. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So the time frame we're talking about is at the beginning of February, where they started with movie premiere in Mexico. Rather sad, in my humble opinion. After I watched the movie, it makes more sense now, but still, I do not think that they started particularly strong. The first look we have seen Zendaya wearing during the whole Dune action is Rishaju. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, and I mean, obviously this whole art scene, I suppose I should say two-piece set, is I think a reference to not exactly the suit that Chani, Zendaya's character, is wearing in the movie, but more I think an overall feeling of the planet Arrakis that the action is going at. Like, you know, the sands, the winds, all the jazz. There are a lot of things that confuse me about it. First of all, I do not think that it is complementary. While she's walking, maybe yes, it can work, but while she's staying, I don't know, I feel like it breaks off her proportions awfully. And I mean, I understand that it is a designer detail, but I'm really not a fan of those extra detailed loops on the skirt and around her shoulder. If they are kind of being integrated into the look within the top, just look weird on the skirt. I also do not really understand the choice of black stilettos with something so sandy, summery, I don't know, Bedouin-ish. The contrast looks kind of weird. Anyway, the second look she was wearing is these Bottega Veneta, much more put together. I'm talking the shoes, the accessories, the hair, like it makes so much more sense right now. Considering it's more casual outfit, I think it is a 10. So as for the other people, Florence Pugh started in this Galvan London two-piece set. I once again feel like something is going a little bit wrong with the proportions of the look. If Zendaya had too much going on at the top of her outfit versus the bottom, here the situation is reversed. But what I like is that Florence has been heavily referencing small designers recently, so, you know, this is a bonus. As for her second look, it is even more simple. She's wearing standing ground, and I mean, do we even need to comment on it, because it is just a white halter dress with a little bit of a ruching. I mean, nothing to write home about. In terms of what she could be referencing, so Florence's character in the Dune, Princess Irulan, was consistently wearing a lot of silver, like silver masks, silver hardware, and so Florence has also been wearing a lot of silver on her red carpets, hence the first look. And as for the second one, I personally think that she's referencing the very first outfit that Princess Irulan is shown to us in the movie, which is a white, very, once again, minimalist two-piece set. So yeah, maybe that is that. Then we have Timothée Chalamet, and once again, looking back at it and comparing these looks to the other ones, I feel like Timothée served the most during the first premiere in comparison to all of the other ones. The first look he's wearing is full-on runway Hermes, and yeah, I feel like here he's obviously referencing the two-piece suit Freeman were wearing, like especially this snoot thing on the blouse. It is giving those masks that they used to shield their faces from the sun with. And as for his second look, he's wearing this rather cool Prada look. It's very misshaped, deconstructed, weird but still smart fashion, and I know that this can sound very far-fetched, but I will put it out there anyway. Well, we all remember how Paul Atreides used to wear a lot of uniform while his father, the Duke, was still alive, and so there were a lot of kind of uniform details during the first Dune premiere method dressing. So maybe what they're doing here is taking this formality that were present during the Dune Part 1 and misshaping it, because during the Dune Part 2, Paul is very far from this kind of standard Duke-like uniform. If that is what we are seeing here, I mean, that is cool. And then last but not the least, we have Austin Butler first in the Givenchy three-piece suit, and then in the Saint Laurent. I love the suits, but I will just say right now that nice suits is basically all we are going to see from Austin Butler here, and I don't think it's any kind of method dressing, because Fate Rotha couldn't be further from wearing suits, but I don't know, I guess it's just his thing. Then the cast moved on to the Paris. At that point of time, I've decided that they are finally living up to their own glory of the first movie method dressing. On the menu we had, obviously, first and foremost, the fashion girl is Zendaya, wearing this absolutely stunning layered dress. Like, it is neat. How is it even? You know what? I don't know how it works. I don't want to know how it works. I feel like it will just take out the fantasy of the beauty of this dress. And I only have one idea as to what she's referencing here, and I feel like that would be those sandworms, because, you know, the shape of the top of the dress kind of reminds me of snake or a worm in this particular case. For the actual premiere, she wore custom Louis Vuitton. We all remember that she's a Louis Vuitton ambassador now. I think that the most genius thing about her method dressing in particular is that, I mean, not only she sets the mood for the movie, but also always brings fashion in it. And I mean, like, high fashion. Anyway, this one I liked a lot. I once again feel like that they're referencing either the Arrakis desert or maybe once again those worms, because, you know, the high neck and also the texture of the dress is giving, well, skin, I suppose, of those worms, because they paid a lot of attention to the skin of the worm in the Dune Part 2 and riding the worms also, so maybe that was that. As for Timothee, for the press call, he wore Bottega Veneta. It is laid back, still on theme. We have a black turtleneck and a pair of snake pants. I once again feel that snake pants is probably due to the reference of the worms, sandworms. And to the premiere, he wore custom Givenchy couture with Cartier jewelry. And I don't know if it was Givenchy or Cartier that did, you know, this metal breastplate, but I applaud, because that is a very subtle but still a very cool detail that just, you know, makes the whole outfit. We cannot say that he just wore a black suit and that was the end of the day. No, he didn't. He served a little bit, but he served. And yeah, considering it's a breastplate, I feel like they're referencing the warriorness and the war of it all that is about to go on in the Dune Part 2 and, you know, the continuation. We also had Austin Butler in a Fear of God kind of coat and suit for the press call, and then Louis Vuitton for the premiere. As I already said, does he wear suits all the time? Yes, he does. But to his credit, do they look like the same suit that he's wearing over and over and over again, like, I don't know, Cillian Murphy around Oppenheimer premiere? No, they do not. We also had Rebecca Ferguson wearing Tom Brown for the press call. I mean, I'm not really getting it, because to me, once again, it's much more giving Dune Part 1. She wasn't wearing anything that formal in the Dune Part 2, so that is that. And also had Lacey Dew, who showed up for the premiere in custom Louis Vuitton. I think it's kind of reminiscent of what her character, whose name is Margot, is wearing in the scene where she's kind of seducing Fate Rotha. My issue with this dress in particular, the material, like everything else, color, the jewelry, all is fine, but the choice of this velvet fabric just, I mean, it is at odds with everything else. With that being said, next stop on their list was London. As for this particular city, I can say that it kind of got split into two very, very different parts. Like, the photo call was far more on the minimalist, more casual side of things. Like, for instance, here we have Zendaya wearing three-piece Roxanne suit. Honestly, no one wears suits like this woman. And there were also Timothee Chalamet in Bottega Veneta yet again. I mean, boy is clearly in his leather pants era. Austin Butler in Louis Vuitton. Right up to this morning, I was kind of praising his suiting, but this particular one is plain boring, to be completely honest. Florence Pugh in Matichevsky. I mean, I kind of like it, considering they were all doing simple. As far as it's not yet another flowy Valentina dress, I'm happy. And also Rebecca Ferguson in Lurline. I'm probably butchering it. Their development of this molded, sculpted, embodied material is impressive indeed. This is probably my favorite outfit of Rebecca Ferguson during this whole method dressing she did, because of how cool it is in terms of references. First of all, after she's becoming an honored mother of the Freeman, she got tattoos on her face, which can be a reference to the skulls on the dress. Second of all, the whole structure of the dress is reminiscent of the water caves she mainly operated from in the movie. And thirdly, she had what I like to call creepy baby, and the creepy baby was creepily talking to her during the whole movie about how they need to usurp the power and overthrow everyone and anyone. Considering how creepy this was, I feel like the skulls make total sense. You get the vibe, right? Everyone went simple, very tailored, very minimal, sometimes even boring. Austin Butler, I'm talking about you. So what I definitely wasn't expecting for the actual premiere, nothing about it was smart casual or minimal. They went all out with the references. Starting with obviously the Queen of Queens, Zendaya, wearing vintage Mugler from fall 1995 couture, also known as an infamous robot suit. I'm kind of getting Warrior Barbie here, probably due to how the plastic elements look, and also maybe the amount of Barbie related content that I have been consuming on the daily basis for the past half of year. But yeah, once again, I feel like the reference here is not as much a Freeman suit as an overall impending feeling of war that was ever present during the whole movie. And by the way, no, she didn't spend the whole evening in the suit. She afterward changed into simple yet lovely fitting, also Mugler black gown, not to outshine the major moment, so to say. Speaking of not outshining, Timothee Chalamet and Hyder Ackerman. I mean, he's still going for a statement pant kind of look, but that is about it, which is honestly a right course of action when your co-star is wearing a damn piece of art on her. Then we had Anya Taylor-Joy in custom Christian Dior. She was literally on the screen for like 15 seconds, and she was wearing the outfit with the hood, which kind of is giving the same vibe, so that was probably that. Also kind of getting Maria, like the Jesus Christ Maria godmother vibes from this outfit, which might have to do something with the "this baby will come and save us all" kind of vibe. Florence Pugh in custom Valentina, her character was wearing a lot of kind of face masks and, headpieces, so the fact that she's going for a little bit of a hood makes sense, although I think that her outfit is more of a glamorized Freeman rather than princess. But, she has kind of accepted Paul Atreides' proposal to marry him at the end of the movie, and he is very Freeman looking like at this particular moment of time, so maybe that is that. Austin Butler in Gucci, far better than the photocall, and fits him impeccably once again in comparison to the photocall. Thank you very much. Rebecca Ferguson in Fendi Couture. Well, once again, at the moment of watching this red carpet, I thought that her meta dressing is the one that I had the most questions for. This dress was kind of giving me a queen in exile kind of vibe, but now I also think that the Tran is kind of giving the flowy looks she was wearing as a Reverend Mother, and also the fact that the print of the dress kind of has a silhouette within the silhouette, and she was pregnant during the whole movie. So, and then we have Alea Seydoux in custom Louis Vuitton. Really sure what they're getting at with Louis Vuitton here. The look is severely not cute, and the only reference that I can think about, to be honest, is when she and another Bene Gesserit was watching Faith Rota in the arena. She was actually looking at him through those, little binocular kind of glasses, and it was a very accented moment because, that was important for the movie. Even if it is so, the reference is cool, the dress is not, and that is that. Next, 3 of them made their way into the cell. Unfortunately, their method dressing for cell is my least favorite out of the whole bunch. I mean, I obviously do admire the fact that while in Korea we're Korean designers. Speaking of which, both Zendaya and Timothee are wearing Dune G here. Biker suits are cute and they're kind of reminiscent of the Freeman outfits in Dune, but it is a choice of color that throws me off here. I might be spending too much time on TikTok recently, but is giving baby gender party reveal. As for this Givenchy 1995 moment, I just cannot help but think that it would be perfect for like the Blade Runner premiere or the Matrix. But as for now, it kind of stands alone, a little bit separate from all of the other looks that she was wearing. Timothee just showed up in a Gucci white suit, joining the team of Austin Butler, who was in a Valentino, you have guessed it, suit. And then there was the premiere in New York, which is the last big premiere. Here we have Zendaya in Stephanie Rowland. It is a piece of architectural art. It's mixing modernism with bioarchitecture. I am so utterly obsessed with this dress. And also the hem of the dress kind of once again reminds me of the desert caves that Freeman used to live in. And I was thinking long and hard about what this cutout can stand for, and I've decided that it kind of reminds me of those dancing-like patterns they were using to walk through the desert so as not to alert the sandworms. Then we had Timothee Chalamet in all leather everything. Prada, it's fine, but you know, not fine enough for one of the last looks before the actual premiere. Although I've heard a rather interesting thought that him keeping it down with the fashion moments is not about giving the spotlight to Zendaya, but more like a side effect of dating into, you know, the Kardashian Jenner clan. I think it's obviously kind of a reference to, once again, the Freeman looks, the desert, the Iraqis, yada yada, you know the deal. Austin Butler, on the other hand, took the page from the usual Chalamet book and came in Hyder Ackerman, but, you know, obviously suit. Florence Pugh is back to Valentina flowy, bleeding, but you know, the fact that this dress has more structure and also this very geometrical silvery makeup, they do save the day. And as I already said, her character was wearing a lot of silvery stuff and headpieces. Hence, I feel like the makeup and the dress too. Then we had Anya Taylor-Joy, who seemed to have a bit of an out from the Dior contract, and boy, she didn't miss a beat, going straight to Maison Margiela by Gaultier, a latest couture collection. I am obsessed with this outfit, and yes, once again, she was present at the screen. She was wearing a Freeman kind of look, which this can be reminiscent to, or as I was already saying about one of Rebecca Ferguson's outfits, is a silhouette within the silhouette, the pregnancy, yada yada. Still, the hair is giving me the divine creature, the divine something. I feel like they are continuously going for the Messiah looks. Lea Seydoux once again is wearing custom Louis Vuitton, and it wasn't like she was wearing a lot of gold during the movie. Considering her character, I was kind of expecting more geometrically shaped things from her, and definitely the darker outfits, but yeah, not that exactly. So that was it for the method dressing that was present during the Dune Part 2 premiere. Considering the roles that were clearly created, and at this point of time we can clearly see the pattern within their visual language and how they differentiate between each other, Zendaya is always doing the most. Like, her presence is crucial for the chapter 2. Now we know that she's also tightened up into the Paul's prophecy. She is a notorious fashion girl. She's always getting the spotlight. Timothee Chalamet, whose slogan for chapter 2 has been t-shirts plus statement pants plus boots. But you know, the devil's is always in the details. Florence Pugh has been going for a similar kind of column dress with, you know, tighter bodice, more flowy skirt. Well, Austin Butler is obviously here with his suiting. With that being said, we came to the end of this video. If you like it, you can subscribe to this channel or something. Also leave me a like, check out my other social medias if you like the vibes, and other than that, I'll see you in the next one, so bye!